New report. Food prices are rising rapidly all over the world. If you're seeing your grocery bill go up, you're not alone. From rice in Peru to miso in Japan, food prices, basic staple prices, are rising all over the world. From subsistence farmers eating rice in Ecuador to Americans eating steak, consumers worldwide face rising food prices and what analysis call a perfect storm of conditions. Changing weather, or freaky weather, is a factor. Yes, climate change is real. It's going to wreak havoc on the food supplies of the world. Including dramatic changes in the global economy, like higher oil prices, higher fertilizer prices, higher transportation prices or costs, lower food reserves, and ever-growing consumer demand in China and India. The world's poorest nations still harbor the greatest hunger risk. Numerous clashes over bread in Egypt has hurt numerous people. And similar food riots have broken out in other countries around the world. But food protests now crop up even in Italy and in Europe. And while the price of spaghetti has doubled in Haiti, the cost of miso is packing a hit in Japan. Yes, ever-increasing world demand is driving up the price. And then droughts in places where there didn't used to be droughts like that. Climate change, global warming. Growing food crops, now turning them into biofuels to put in vehicles. The price of everything else associated with farming is going up rapidly. But among the driving forces are petroleum prices, which increase the cost of everything. Yes, everything. From fertilizers to transport to food processing. And then rising demand for wheat and dairy in rapidly developing countries such as China and India is sending up the cost of grain used for cattle feed, as is the increasing demand for raw materials to make biofuels. No, it's not a good idea to use your food crops for biofuels. There's got to be other ways. Yes, I'm sure there is. What's rare, they say, is that the spikes are hitting all major foods in most countries all at once. Food prices rose 4% in the U.S. last year, the highest rise since 1990, and are expected to climb at least, probably actually more, again this year, according to the U.S. Department of Agriculture. As of last December, 37 countries faced new food crises, and 20 had imposed some sort of food price controls. And for many more, it's just a disaster. The UN's World Food Program says it's facing at least a $500 million shortfall in funding this year to feed at least 89 million needy people. In Egypt, where bread is up at least 35% and cooking oil another 26%, the government recently proposed ending food subsidies and replacing them with cash payouts to needy. The plan was put on hold after it sparked public uproar. The revolution of the hungry is in the offing, said a spokesman for Citizens Against the High Cost of Living. A protest group established to lobby against ending the subsidies. In China, the price hikes are both a burden and a boon. Per capita meat consumption has increased 150% since 1980. The Chinese middle class is starting to change the traditional thought process of beef as a luxury. They're starting to want it every day, like Americans do. McDonald's in every corner, Walmart's every few blocks or something. No, that's not going to work. Everybody can't live like we do in this country. There's just not enough resources to go around. The United States uses like 25% or a quarter of all the resources available already. And that's only for a lot less people than they have in China. Anyway, no. Meanwhile, record oil prices have boosted the cost of fertilizer and freight for bulk commodities, at least up 80% in 2007 over 2006. The oil spike has also turned up the pressure for countries to switch to biofuels, which the FAO says will drive up the cost of corn, sugar, and soybeans for many, many more years to come. No, that's not good. Italians are filling the pension pasta, with consumer groups staging a one-day strike last fall against a food deeply intertwined with national identity. And the situation is getting worse. It's not good, no. The more prices go up, the less there is to meet people's needs. The poor people say, and it's around the world, they say they knew they were poor before, but now it's getting worse in poverty. Because most people in the world live on less than $2 a day. Well, they really can't. A nickel or dime increase for them is a lot of money. No. God is watching. More signs in end times, last days.